Kerry Phillips.
Right. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the AGM. Just a couple of little things before we start. Ways of working for this AGM, as it's an unusual way of doing it. If you could all please mute yourselves if you are not speaking, so that there's no overlap of voices. Only one person should speak at a time. And if you need to respond, if you could raise your hand so that we can bring you in. If you want to chat with anybody else, if you could use the chat box, which you'll find, I think, at the bottom of your screen. And you can use the emotions button to give either a high five or a thumbs down. There will be some polls throughout this meeting, and there will be questions to vote on. So we can sort of go through, with like raising your hand to if you're in agreement, that sort of thing. If you get cut off, just try joining again through the link that you've already joined through. And if you need a break, just take a quick break and then come back to us. So the agenda. First of all, at 2 o'clock, we'll be doing things that we did through 2019 to 2020. At 2:20, there will be the election of trustees. At 2:30, we'll be talking about our plans for 2021. At 2:45, there will be a quiz, and all being well, we should finish around 3 o'clock. And yeah, so that's all from me. I'll hand back now.
Thank you, Kerry. And we're now going to pass over to our chair, Linda Rawlinson, who will welcome you and do the apologies. You're on mute at the moment, Linda.
Sorry. Hello. Welcome everyone to our 2020 AGM. What a year it's been. Well, thank you all so much for joining us today. It's so important that as many as possible do so that we can continue to run the group efficiently and effectively. We also want to thank all the wonderful volunteers for the job that you do with helping to run the group, hearing aid repairs and making sure we're all okay. Just a great big thank you to you all. We do have a few apologies. Jackie Kenvin, Dorothy Luckett, Hannah Norman, Joe Moon, and Pat Hope. Okay. The name of everybody who here today will go into a draw. We won't be having a quiz today, so instead of the quiz, we'll be having a draw. And the name drawn out of that will get a nice box of M&S chocolates. So there we are. So we'll carry on with the rest of the meeting, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Linda. Kerry has done the agenda, and we're going to swiftly move on to the trustee report. So, Sarah.
Hi there, everyone. So the trustee report, things have improved. So we had 81 people taking part in activities, and that has gone up. It was 50 people in 2018 to 2019. Of these, 55 were deaf or hard of hearing. So that means there's an average of 20 people per event. Again, that's an increase on the year before, when it was an average of 14. So 15 people came for the very first time. So just to give you some figures, 149 hearing aid repairs and battery replacements were done. 49 people received advice on maintaining their hearing aids. 38 people received advice on better usage of their hearing aids. And there were 48 home visits undertaken. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Okay, I think Sam is sorry. I just turned Sam's video off. My fault, Sam. If you could turn your video on again for me, Sam.
No problem, Shirley. Hello, everyone. The Hard of Hearing clubs had a variety of activities. We had talks from various different organisations, including Paul Sartori, the Dementia Friends. We had visits from Cariad Pet Therapy, who bought their therapy dogs, which everybody really enjoyed. And we had a talk about scams and awareness from the NatWest Community Banker. We also had more informal get-togethers where we shared childhood memories. We played games like bingo and we had some quizzes. Every time we meet, there is always lots of tea, lots of cake and lots of chatting. The clubs also provide a really good opportunity for people to have hearing aid repairs and battery replacements. Last year, in April, we went to Folly Farm, where Phil Sewell, the interpreter, joined us and we had talks about lions and penguins. In May, we went to Picton Castle and enjoyed the gardens. And in June, we visited Tenby and went to the museum. Here are some photos.
Okay, and now Hannah is going to share. We've got a video of Hannah doing the next section.
This year we've been doing lots of things, including bank talk. The video is a little bit glitchy for me. I don't know about anyone else.
It's a time bank talk and
Yep.
draft.
Are you getting that, Denise? It's quite glitchy for me. Sorry, I didn't get that because of the video wasn't great quality. So.
Okay, we'll I'll go over it and I can talk that one through for you. So in July, we had a craft session and we had a talk on the time bank. And in August at Weatherspoons, we had a social time, a chatting time together. And then in September, we had our AGM meeting. And now I'm going to have some photographs from July, August and September. Okay, stop sharing there. Sorry, I'm going backwards. Okay. I can't get out. How do I get out? Bear with me, folks. Stop sharing. Okay. Hi, Rob. Nice to see you. Okay, so next is Beth. Where I need to find Beth's camera. Beth, can you turn your camera on for me? Oh, Adam is just joining us.
Bye.
Beth, I just asked you to start your video.
I don't know, I've done something wrong. Can you hear me?
We can hear you a bit faint.
Oh, right, I don't know why.
But your video is off. Can you turn your video on for me, Beth?
I don't know how to.
I've just sent you a request to turn it on. On the bottom of your screen there on the left, probably, there's a little start video sign.
Oh, here we are. There.
Yes, there we go. Well done.
My one says you can't stop the video because the host has stopped it.
Right, it's all right now. I asked her to start it. So Beth, if you'd like to carry on.
Continue in the report for 2019. For October, we went to the Sutherland Museum in Pembroke Dock and Peru Control Tower, and we had lunch in Martha's Museum. A very enjoyable an interesting day throughout. Then in November, we had Christmas craft event with Pat in Johnston making Christmas decorations, which I can't remember exactly what we made, but I know they were brilliant. Also in November, we had a performance of One Man, Two Governors in the Torch Theatre. It was a BSL performance. It was a very funny farce, and I think everyone got the gist of it, but it was great fun. Then in December, we had Christmas dinner in the Green Shed, Haverford, lovely food and great company. Also, we had the Panto, which was a family event in the Torch Theatre, and it was Aladdin, and it was a BSL performance again, and there was quite a few of us there. We all thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a lovely end of a great year.
Thank you, Beth. That was lovely. I'll just show some pictures from that. If I can get the pictures up again. Oh, for some reason I've lost the thing. Hang on a minute. Wait a second. For some reason, my PowerPoint has disappeared. Okay. Technical hitches, everybody. There's nothing like technology to make you stressed out. Okay, there we are. Here's the control tower pictures. Everybody dressed up, looks lovely. And there's Pat doing the craft. And the Christmas dinner. Oh, and I've gone on too far. There we go. Okay, so I think Rhiannon is doing the next bit. So if you'd like to come on now, Rhiannon.
I'm just handing over to Denise now.
Thank you. Right, I need to try and find Denise. And hang on a second, because I need to find the picture of Denise.
Shirley, you don't let me start my video because you stopped it.
Okay. Ask to start video. I am looking for. I don't have Denise. Oh, you need to start your video. That's why I can't spotlight you. There we go. Yeah, brilliant.
Right.
Okay, so I'm going to replace the spotlight for everybody as Denise, and we'll add a spotlight for Rhiannon. Okay.
Report continued.
Hang on. Can I?
January this year, we went to indoor bowling in the Phoenix Bowls and multi-table. We also had food while we were there, so we had a pretty good time there.
We also had food, Denise.
In February, we had a talk by Spot. We had a talk about what Spot does. We do dog daycare and dog walking. We also train volunteers so they can be dog walkers or dog daycare. It's a choice. In March, we had the Easter craft and bingo in Johnson Hall. I think everyone enjoyed that one.
Okay, thank you very much, Rhiannon.
No problem.
I'm just going to stop your video and add my video. Hang on a minute. Okay, start video to me. Oops. One I went off. Right. Just show you some photographs from the bowling, etc. So here's the bowling in January. There's John Joe having a good old swing at his bowl. There's the lovely little dog that Rhiannon mentioned. Our Spot training. And that's the craft and bingo. Okay. All right. And so one thing we didn't do, which we do need to do before we carry on, I'm just going to stop sharing for a minute. We need to accept the minutes from the previous meeting. So in the last AGM, the minutes have been actually distributed to all the members. You will have had them in the post. And we've had some votes already. So those of you who are members who are attending today and have not already voted, we're going to ask now for a poll for everybody to vote to accept the minutes from the previous meeting. So I'm just going to launch that poll.
Okie dokie.
And if you can vote, please, to accept the minutes. That's lovely. So I will now close that poll. So we have a unanimous 100% of people have said that they wish to accept the minutes. Okay. And we're now going to move on to the finance report, which I'm going to present to you. And I'll just share my screen again so you can see the figures on the screen. First thing we want to do is say a very big thank you to the Big Lottery Community Fund, because they have provided in the financial year 2019 to 2020 £15,450, which goes towards the salaries of all the deaf community support workers. And we have a team of 4 at the moment. And they allow us to have our hard of hearing clubs, which we've set up in Pembroke and in Fishguard, and we are soon to launch one in Narberth as soon as we're allowed with the COVID rules. And also to have our website translated into Welsh and BSL. If you haven't seen our website, really would encourage you to have a look, because it's lovely now. You can go in and choose to go in with either English, spoken, written word, or you can go in and see it in sign language, or you can see it in Welsh, and we'd encourage you to have a look. We'd also like to thank Greg's Foundation, who provided £1,677 towards equipment, and that's for our Sonidos and our Conversa listening aids, and also for some other items such as phones that will help you to hear more clearly. And these are things that we can hire out to those who want to use them to enable the deaf to be able to access all the services in this community. And we also want to thank Foyle Foundation for £1,969, which subsidised our trips and events. Now, in the year, if I just scroll down and go to the next slide, you'll see that we had activity costs of £2,073, and then travel and transport costs of another £1,789, 1789. That money altogether, £3,862, is the cost of our trips and events for the club as a whole. Not the hard of hearing clubs, they're separately funded. And our members pay fees towards that, but it only is about 36%. So the rest of that was covered by the Foyle Foundation grant and from our membership donations. And I'd like to point out that our membership donations went up from £250 in 2019 to £506. Some of that was membership fees and some of it was just members donating specifically. But that money is showing how many extra members we have, and that's a real encouragement to us. And we thank you for joining us as members, those of you who have. One thing that you will notice, you might notice on the accounts, is our donations in the previous year were over £2,000 and only 477 in this year that we're looking at. But that's because we had a donation from Tesco, Bags of Help, which was £2,000, and that was a one-off. So it did rather distort the overall figure. But overall, you can see that we spent a lot less than we had in, which allowed us to increase the amount of money in our reserves. And our reserves stand at £3,642. And our overall money at the end of the year was £8,686. But that's because a lot of that was lottery funding for salaries. And that carries into the next year because the lottery year starts in May, so it's a bit of a slight difference to the actual accounting year. So we're going to stop looking at the figures now. I think that's enough. And we're going to do our second poll. And I'm going to ask you, please, to vote to accept the accounts. We've already had some votes in. So if you would like to vote now, please. Okay, so that means we've already had 13 votes in, and today we have had a further 8 votes in favour and 1 vote against. I'm not sure whether that was entirely intended, but that's what we've got. So the vote is virtually 90-something%. So we will accept the accounts. Thank you very much, everybody, for voting. Okay. Okay, so we're now moving on to future events. And so we've got a few things to announce that are coming up. And I know that, and we've also got Johnny Cotson is joining us at this moment. He's just coming in. And he's going to talk about a specific project that he's involved with. He'd like the club to be involved with as well. But first of all, just to let you know, on the 15th of November, we have a Christmas card making session on Zoom. And if you want to be involved in that, it's at 10 o'clock on the 18th of November. But you must let us know by the 10th, because we need to send a pack of the card making materials out to you in the post. Okay. Also, on the 4th of December, we have somebody. Hi, hi, Johnny. He's just joined us. That's lovely. I'll just switch your video off for a second while I carry on. All right. So on the 4th of December, we have a wreath making session for Christmas wreaths. And that is being done by Sian Phillips. And it's at 2 o'clock on the 4th of December. And you need to tell Kerry Phillips by the 24th of November that you want to do that. And he will then send out again a pack of stuff for you to make the wreaths up. Okay. We're also now planning our Christmas dinner. Obviously, with the new COVID rules, we are only allowed to have a maximum of 15 at the Christmas dinner. So that means we've decided to split it into 2 events because we always have more than 15 people at our Christmas dinner, and we've been having bigger numbers recently, so we might even have more than we had last year. So we're going to have the event in Neyland at Bethesda Baptist Church, where they have a cafe and a hall, and it's all been set up COVID secure. So you come in one entrance, you go out another exit, and there's spacing, and it's all cleaned and everything between people using it. So we're going to use that venue, and it's going to be on the 3rd and the 5th of December. That's the Thursday and the Saturday, so the 3rd and the 5th. We will meet at 12:30. If you want to go, you need to book, because we must make sure that we have everybody's names and addresses for contact and trace. And we must make sure that we don't have more than 15 at a time. So please book. I will be sending out letters to all the people on our membership. If you're not a member, we don't do postings to people who are not members because our list is so long. It's too many people, it's over 100 people, and it becomes very expensive for the club to do mailings. But everything is on our Facebook page. We'll be setting up an events page for it. You can book on Facebook or you can telephone. It'll be on our website with my email address for you to contact. So if you want to come, you can come if you're not a member, but you won't get a mailing automatically. Please contact us. Okay. And then on the 8th of January is hopefully our bowling trip to Phoenix Bowl. And details will be coming out about that as well. Okay, I'm going to pass over to Johnny Cotson, who's going to talk to you about what he would like to do and see if you're interested in a meeting with himself. Okay. Johnny, you're on mute. Can we ask you to unmute?
I think everyone did it, didn't they? They forgot to put the microphone on.
Yes, that's fine. Okay.
Brilliant. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here. I have a lot of good memories of coming to with Stein and Share. I think I came to Stein and Share about a year ago, or maybe 2 years ago, to have a chat about some of the work I was doing, and did a little bit about myself. My name is Johnny Cotton, as I've been introduced. I live in Cardiff. I work primarily at a theatre maker, and I'm a performer. I have performed in the Torch Theatre about a year ago, or maybe a year and a half ago. I think some of you saw it, and I've been touring with a show called Louder Is Not Always Clearer. Louder is not always clearer.
Louder is not always clearer, Denise.
And it's very short. It's about a deaf man trapped in a hearing world. And the reason why I do this, I'm trying to create more awareness. I'm trying to break down the stigma of I suppose, deaf people living in the hearing world and the barriers we face. And one of the most important things I'm trying to do, I'm trying to campaign for that in theatre, venues, galleries, museums, and normally falls on deaf ears. It goes in one ear and it goes out the other. So I'm trying to make a big effort to see what can we do to make our venues and the art and culture more accessible. So I have been commissioned by the Art Council Wales and the Museum, the Natural Museum of Wales, to try to talk to people and so they could have an understanding what barriers they face going to the museums or to theatres. What could we do to improve it? How could they involve you? How could they include you? All those kind of things. And I'm really interested in having this conversation because it's not about me, it's about all of it. We have a voice. We face barriers. We want to go to theatre. We want to go to galleries. We want to be included. So I had a good chat with Shirley earlier, and she thought maybe coming to this meeting, and maybe if there was a possibility of having a conversation with you guys sometime, if you are interested. If you are interested, that would be absolutely brilliant. I think the conversation wouldn't take more than 30 minutes, maybe an hour. And I would love to hear some of the barriers you face, or some of the good things that you've done when visiting the museums or any of the art cultural stuff. That's all I've got to say, really. I feel like I don't want to interrupt your AGM. Don't want to try and keep it as short as possible. But if you are interested, will you let Shirley know, and maybe Shirley will get in touch with me. Possibility there was a date of maybe perhaps on the 20th or the 21st, although I'm quite flexible around with your members.
Yeah, what I'd say, Johnny, is that our AGM, basically the formal part is finished, so we can have a bit of a chat now if you want to, and we can ask people to give some views now. That would be great. And then if you want to then develop that further and have another meeting, we can arrange that at the end. Okay.
Brilliant. Haven't really thought of that, but it's not very much more like an informal, question. And so I think the most the obvious question I want to ask: had any of you ever attended an art event or museum before?
So anybody want to put their video on and join in this discussion? Please do.
I would, if you could put Cam back on.
But who back on? Your sound is on, Rhiannon.
No, my sound is on, but my camera isn't.
Oh, okay, your camera. Okay. Yep. I'm just asking everybody and anybody that wants to turn their video back on, you can now.
Shirley, can we switch interpreters, please?
You can. 1 minute, and I will switch. Remove the spotlight from you, and I've got to try and find Suzanne now. Suzanne, are you on? I need Suzanne's video on so I can pinpoint spotlight. There we are. There we go. Suzanne is now spotlighted. I'm just asking everybody, hang on a minute, anybody that wants to, there's an awful lot of people here, which is free. So yeah, just the
done something stupid.
Violet, I'm just asking you if you want to start your video in case you want to take part, and Robert again.
Freeze up.
Lily.
Hey, Violet.
And Sean.
Oh, there's me.
Sean's video. Yeah, we're all coming on.
Lily.
Yes, Beth, I can hear you.
I've done something and I don't know what.
What's the matter?
I just shouted at Ryan. I just gone to some wrong reason. I've gone down to my Facebook page.
Okay, Ryan will come and help you probably.
Oh, I'll have to holler at him again.
Right. Yeah, I'm just making sure that anybody else that has asked. I'm just giving everybody permission to put their cameras back on. Bear with me. This takes a little bit of time. Sarah. Okay.
I didn't realise there's so many people.
Yeah. We've hidden everybody. Master start
Oh.
video. That didn't work. Why did that not work? Okay, I think everybody is asked to start video who needs to, so I just start my own. Okay, so
Shirley, my video won't start.
yours won't start. Okay, one more. I'll try you again.
Can you hear me now?
Ah, there I am. Right.
Hi Beth, we can see you. Right.
Ah, there I am.
Andrew, we can see the very top of your head, that's all.
Whose head?
Andrew asked, can we see him? I can only see the very top of his head.
I can't actually see Andrew at all. I've got a black screen with Andrew for some
He is there. When he moves his head, he is there.
Okay, Andrew,
He just
maybe
needs to lower the camera.
You need to have a bit more light on in your room if possible.
Yeah,
No, he
it's
needs to
pointed
lower
at
the
the
camera.
light at the moment, so the camera
I've
needs to
actually
be
got a
pointed
black
down.
screen for Andrew. I don't see anything. But there we are. So anybody want to respond to Johnny's question? Have you been to the theatre or a museum and had problems because of being unable to hear, Luke system's not working, no interpreter, whatever your problem was?
Yeah.
Rhiannon, yes.
Where did we go? We went to Cardiff, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
To the museum there.
Yeah. But that was an organised trip with the club, wasn't it? And we organised before we went interpreters. I'm just thinking of when you went on your own somewhere or you tried to go somewhere and you had a problem, maybe.
I think for me, I would only go to a theatre if there's captions available, which very few theatres do.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just adding a spotlight to you. Can you say that again for us?
Go on.
Thank you, Marie.
For me, I would only go to the theatre if there are captions available. Otherwise, it's a point of a waste of time me going because I can't understand what's going on.
Same for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And shall I put my
Yeah, Johnny?
So you're saying that you only go where I agree. I would only go where that captain's available. How do you find out you know that captain's available?
There's a website, can't remember the name of my head, and they advertise all the theatre productions that have got subtitles. So basically someone goes into the theatre and types the words, it's like a board at the bottom of the theatre stage and whatever, you can read all the words. It's usually the London theatres that do that. I very, very rarely find a theatre in Wales that actually has captions. And it's usually like one performance in the whole season or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember the website offhand.
So I agree, totally agree. They are not enough performative that captain showed. So I'm trying to, if we can, try and get more of that. But I'm really interested in the area in Pembrokeshire. Is there a venue or a museum that you feel welcome, that if they have captioned or an interpreter or in Pembrokeshire? I'm not from Pembrokeshire.
We have a talk theatre here which do provide caption for some films, but we also find it really difficult because they always put it on either in a day that we can't get there, same as, or when we can't get it at night either.
Yes, and the other thing we've had, Rhiannon, do you remember we went to the Torch Theatre, we had a meeting with them about the issues, and one of the problems we've got is about, you know, we've asked for films before to be shown with captions, and because they have to book the films in advance and they don't know which films have got captions till they arrive. That seems a bit strange. You don't get the information till quite late. And so for a club organising, and you need to contact everybody and get a coach and all that, often the time is too difficult. You know, we don't have time to book.
Yeah, and sometimes the loop doesn't work in there either. I don't know how many times I complain.
So the problem can also be with the equipment not working when you get there.
Yep.
You said something about coming to Cardiff. What's that then?
Last year we went, I think it was last year, we went to Cardiff Museum, the National Museum, to see the dinosaur display and all that, and all the galleries and everything. And we also went to St Fagans. But it was an organised trip for the club, so we booked the interpreters ourselves and organised to go. So it wasn't that they had interpreted in events or something, it was us arranging it. So for us, it's quite a, the onus is on us all the time, and it's very, we have to raise the money to have the interpreters, and there's a lot of planning needs to be done. But we had a lovely time when we got there, and we had a, good response. A lot of people, we stayed overnight, and we had 2 days, going to the food.
Sorry, this is really interesting. You said that, Shirley. Thank you for saying that. You shouldn't have to do all this. It's ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. This is the point where I really want to have this conversation. Why should the Stein & Chair Club have to do all of this, arrange interpreters, arrange the transport even, and to make sure that you can have a fully welcome day? It shouldn't happen. So what I'm trying to say is that this is not really a good experience. Of course you want to go to the museum. Of course you should be going to the museum with open doors, a welcome space. So it should be that the museum should be trying to organise all of this so you can have a good experience. Is it fair to say that the museum should be doing more?
Yeah, museums, the big museums definitely need to do more.
Yeah. I think, Johnny, that as somebody who's worked for a lot of charities, in the past, and been involved with charities across Wales, I'm in my other job, I'm a consultant to the voluntary sector. It's not unusual for clubs to have to organise a transport to go somewhere, but the additional cost of having the interpreters and that sort of the communication issues, I don't think that we as a club should be bearing all the time. That would be my view. I think we're looking for equality. We don't want necessarily to be better. we want equality, not to be unequal. So I think that's the
The website I was talking about earlier is it's called Stage Text, and they advertise all the program, all the shows that have subtitles, and they advertise them up to a year in advance.
Right, thank you, Marie. Sam would like to make a comment.
Hello. Just two small things, really. Regarding club outings, obviously, we do have to organise that transport. But I know in the past, Rhiannon, you've told me in particular that you've had difficulty attending shows because they were at such a time where there was no public transport available for you as an individual to be able to get back. So the shows weren't on accessible times for public transport, which is an additional barrier.
Thank you
for
that.
you.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
And secondly, the National Museum, when we organised that trip, I do remember working with them closely, and they were very helpful. They did provide guides on the day, and I'm not entirely sure whether they covered the cost of the interpreter, but we had to do the organising of finding the interpreter. But they were certainly very open to the discussion. But I mean, obviously, perhaps we shouldn't have to make that arrangement in the first place because there should be provisions there.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we've done a lot of visits to local sites, Picton Castle and Tenby Museum and various places, and we've always had to book the interpreter ourselves. I think you're right though, Sam. I think they may have actually been involved with the cost for the interpreters at Cardiff National Museum, but I'm not sure that they were at St Fagans. So I think
Shirley, Suzanne was trying to get your attention just now.
Okay, Suzanne.
Sorry, I didn't like to interrupt. Just swapping interpreter. If that's
okay, thank you. I will unpin you, and where I'm looking. Oh, there she is. Got so many people on my screen trying to find Denise to spotlight you now. Okay.
Last year at the museum for the Dippy, the dinosaur. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. Sorry, I had the wrong view on my camera on my screen. So
last year you said something about you visited the Dippy, the dinosaur, at the museum, which was a fantastic exhibition. I organised last year a BSL tour guide of an exhibition that was going on around the same time called Artist Monday. It was a big exhibition going on, and what I wanted to do is.
Sorry, Donnie, did you say Artist Memories?
Artist Monday. It was an exhibition that was happening in the museum around the same time as Dippy, maybe a few weeks before Dippy. It was called Artist Monday. It's like it's a bit like the Turner Prize they have in the Tate Modern, but this is more specifically.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So
all right.
I organised a BSL, a deaf tour guide coming from London to come to the museum. It was sold out in 5 minutes, and it was very successful. And I think one of the reasons why the museum started to think, well, actually, if it's become deaf-led, then they would get more interest. And so it got me thinking about that. Actually, you came all the way down to Cardiff to the museum, you arranged everything by yourself. But if they had a deaf tour guide, then this could be almost you become regular, or not very regular, because as a personal thing, I would travel as a country if there was a deaf tour guide or somebody, a deaf curator, because I know that if I go to the museum, I have a better experience, because sometimes I find it quite hard to read all the information I have in the museum because it makes no sense. But if you have a deaf curator, it makes much more sense.
Yeah, I was wondering, Violet.
Yes.
Have you gone to venues locally, theatres, museums, or whatever? What's your experience as a hard of hearing person?
Yes, I struggle, like for example, the cinema. I struggle because it's so loud and yet you can't pick out the voices. It's just so much background noises. It'd be nice to have subtitles there, but it's a transport thing for me because I live in St David's and the buses are really bad going back from Haverfordwest to St David's. That's my biggest obstacle, I think, is actually getting to venues to experience them. You know, I don't get to go to the theatre or anything much because I live out in the sticks.
Anybody else? Sean?
Excuse me, I'm sorry, people, I'm going to have to go.
Okay, thank you.
I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Can I just add, Shirley?
Yeah.
I went on a little guided tour last year of some like the Roche Castle and Tour of Ellen Hotel, and there was a guide talking to us then, but I had to try and push my way to the front to hear what they were saying.
Right.
It was almost impossible.
So they didn't have any listening gear like
nothing at all.
Like the converser that we use.
Yeah, and there was so much history about the places, and I missed it.
Yes.
Yeah, I find that with a lot of things myself.
Do you?
I'll have that. Yeah. I have a tendency. I'm a member of the Haverfordwest Heritage Society, Civic Society. And we have lots of talks and whatever. And they know me now, and I'm in the front always because I lip read and I tape. But if there's not a noise, it can be.
Can I just remind you, everybody, that we have the converser service, the equipment here. We can loan it to people when they need it. So if you're going on a tour or something and you want to borrow the converser, you can borrow the listening side for yourself, and the speaker can have the microphone so that you can hear them through the loop system and through the headphones if you want to use headphones. So just remember that.
Okay.
Really is.
Okay.
Johnny, sorry.
What is that you're talking about? The Conversa?
Conversa is a form of mobile loop system. So we have like a neck loop that the listener has, which picks up the sound from a neck loop on the from a microphone rather that the speaker has. That microphone relays on the loop system to the loops. So you can either use the T function on your hearing aid, or you can have headphones into it. If you, I think on one of our pictures, let me just screen share for you and go back to our screen for the AGM. That one. You might be able to see there that we've got Lloyd here is wearing headphones, and the speaker, you can't see, she's got, it's very, I don't know whether I can enlarge that. Hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Ooh, wrong side. I wanted to show you that picture, but I can't seem to get it. So hang on, current slide. So
really, if the museum had that, is that a possibility? Would that make it easier if the museum...
Yeah, sorry, I can't seem to get that to work, but yes, I mean, we bought it, we had the money. Do you remember I said to you about Greg's? We had some money from Greg's foundation, and they funded us to buy it. It's quite an expensive piece of kit, but it's really very, very good, because you can buy as many neck loops as you like, and then you can hand them out to the people that are doing the tour. And when we go on trips, we give them out to people in the group. You can be quite a way away from the speaker then, and you can hear very clearly. Those of you who've used it, is anybody here that's used it?
Never heard of it.
Rhiannon?
I have. I have.
Yeah, Rhiannon, would you like to say what you felt about it?
I quite like using it because it's more clearer and I can understand people a bit better.
Okay. Beth, you used it?
I haven't used it, but my issue with using some of these things is that, especially if you're on your own, you are sort of singled out, and then you really
when we go on the tours,
I've been on different courses, and I've said, oh look, we can hire this, and I've been told, oh, we don't need that, and it's like, I've already, so that is just the thing with me, but maybe I need to sort of push our equipment a bit more, because I do know that we do have members, especially in the Civic Society.
I don't know whether Sarah or Sam might like to comment on this, but my experience has been when I've used the similar, this type of equipment at deaf events that I've organised with my church and with the club. If you have the equipment, you set it up, and then you say, does anybody want it? Generally speaking, you might get one person who says, oh, yes, please. And then, but once they're there using it, then other people say, oh, okay, yeah, I might try that. And you end up with 3 or 4 people using it, because nobody wants to be, if you're only one, it's a bit, you have to be fairly assertive to do it, don't you? But if somebody else is doing it, it works.
Is seeing and saying to the different groups that I'm a member of, look, we've got this equipment. If we had something, a card or whatever from our group, this is what we've got.
Sorry, the sound is far too low.
It's actually the sound's gone for me as well, Denise. Okay. Beth, would you say that last bit again, because your sound was very poor? We've lost you completely now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got no sound from you, Beth. Yeah, sorry, I don't know what's happened. Sarah, would you like to comment? How have people responded to the Conversa?
Yeah. Well, my experience of using Conversa has been at the Hard of Hearing Club, say in Fishguard. And I think it's establishing a norm, as you said. If you've got all the equipment there, and it's just like, here we are, then it's not, no one's making a big thing about it because it's just a standard thing that is there, and then automatically people take it. And it actually, there's my experience of one lady there who just came to life when she put the headphones on. It was just like a different person because she could understand and hear what was going on. A fantastic piece of equipment. I think, I think it should be more available at different venues. I think it would work really well.
Thank you, Sarah. Sam, you've also been involved with using it. Yeah, I've used them in many different environments, whether it's been somewhere like Picton Castle, where we've had a tour, when we went to the National Museum, and in the Hard of Hearing Club environments. And they are really beneficial to the users. And I can second what Sarah says. There's certain people who have been very reluctant to try it, but once they put it on, I mean, I've had at least 2 people that have cried when they've put it on because they didn't realise how bad their hearing was. And when they were having that conversation, like all of a sudden they could hear everything that was going on. And one lady actually took it off halfway through the session and left because she said it was quite a lot for her to take in all of a sudden, that she could hear all the conversation in the room, and rather than just the person in front of her, I'm struggling. And yeah, when situations where you've got a guided tour, for example, they're fantastic because you don't necessarily need to be keeping pace with the tour guide, and you don't need to worry about them turning their back on you. So you could be at the back of the group and you'd still be able to hear what they were saying really clearly.
This is really, really interesting information. I'm surprised at the age of 47, I didn't know anything about it. And I've been pretty much hearing aid wearing for a long, long time. So I think it's something definitely to be bring up. I think there is, I feel like sometimes maybe we're either in the middle here because you're either hearing or be at our user. Then you've got hard of hearing people who's using hearing aid. And we're the one that I think that we kind of feel a bit left out in it almost, really.
Yeah.
We struggle with conversation.
Yeah.
We struggle with what's going on, but actually we've got hearing aid to be able to hear it. So we have to take advantage of it. So what you're saying in it could be, I just feel like maybe the museum, the Natural History Museum should be doing more about that, have a bit more of a focus on that. So it's definitely really useful. I'm certainly definitely going to try it if I ever come across one. The only reason why I never used them before, the old teeth, sometimes the venue they have these loops.
Yeah.
But, I get a bit scared sometimes because you hear through a hearing aid, but I can't hear everything out.
Yeah.
I can't have a conversation with somebody else. You've got to hear what's going on through the loop, which doesn't work for me sometimes in social situations like a theatre or something. But a guided tour would be perfect because you want to focus on what the guided tour is saying. That's really, really interesting. I want to. I've got a couple of questions here. I don't want to take up too much of your time or something. So if the Art Council or the National Museum want to program and design a fund to support creative activity for you locally, what would you like that to be happening? What would you like in your area if they want to make a program? What would something that you really want? Could be anything. I know some of you expressed interest in cinema. Some of you expressed a local historic site or something. It could be completely different. If they were going to program something in your local area, what would you like that to be?
Beth.
We've got quite a lot of
Rhiannon, I just asked Beth, can we just see if we can hear Beth this time?
yeah.
Charity down in St David that do every year they do like a Shakespeare week or a Shakespeare event. But I have never been, but I've got a good friend of mine that has, and she says that if you have any kind of disability or a hard of hearing or deaf, there is nothing that you couldn't go or you could go, but you'd struggle because they haven't got any listening devices, or they're not doing texting or anything like that, or it's all just oral. And I always think that it's a shame that an event like that isn't publicised.
Beth, can I just ask, do you know the name of the organisation that does this week of Shakespeare? Because I'm not familiar with it.
Somewhere down by St David's, but I'm not exactly sure where.
Okay.
And there's lots of things that happen locally. You know, we have Haverfordwest Carnival Week.
Yes.
And, you know, lots of the towns do have carnivals. But if you want to go to these events that they've got on, and sometimes they could have storytelling, or they could have a music event. But if you go to them and you are hard of hearing or deaf, you're sort of, it's very hard to enjoy yourself because you might not know the words of something, or you might not be, you're not able to be inclusive. And I wish that sort of certain towns would do more. It's like the local museum. It's a shame that the local museums don't do more for people with any kind of hearing loss and a disability, because, you know, a lot of our members aren't just deaf, they have other disabilities as well.
Yeah.
So it makes it very hard to go to local museums or local galleries because of that issue, and it does annoy me sometimes, that.
Right. Okay. Rhiannon seems to have just disappeared. Sorry, Johnny, you go back.
For example, storytelling is beautiful, but would it be nice to have a deaf storyteller? Would that work?
I think it'd be great. I mean, we did talk a couple of years ago when we went to see the Torch Theatre. Rhiannon and myself. Who was the other person that went? Rhiannon, I can't remember. One of our sign language users, I think.
Yeah, I think
I don't know whether it was Hannah or Nia or somebody. There were a group of us that went to the Torch Theatre, and we asked whether we might be able to organise, and they were very keen on the idea, but it's not happened as yet for various reasons. To have an event actually where you'd have deaf poetry and deaf storytelling, and, you know, to have the whole remit of deaf comedy, and, you know, literally something to celebrate the whole culture of the deaf community, and have it fully accessible to deaf, hard of hearing, deaf, blind, you know, the lot.
In Deaf Week, wouldn't we?
Yes, yeah.
It could be, yeah.
Yeah, it would be great.
Shirley.
Sam, sorry, Sam. Oh, you're
Can
going
we change into Tiptish?
Yes, definitely. Thank you. Right, waiting for Suzanne before we move on. And just spotlighting you, Suzanne. Okay, that's great. Okay. Right, okay. So, sorry, who was that? It was Sam, wasn't it?
Yes. I just wanted to say that last year, a few of us did attend a performance in the Torch Theatre. Beth, you came, didn't you? And Rhiannon was there, Hannah and Sian. We went to see a performance, and that was a really interesting show because they incorporated BSL and the captions into the show. And so the characters, and it was fantastic. I can't remember the name of it, but it was a shame because it was quite a controversial subject matter. It was quite...
It was to do with International Women's Day.
Remember my code?
I can't remember. I'm going to have to think about it and let you know.
It was all the
I know. Kate O'Reilly. With Kate O'Reilly, the writer, and it had 5 women.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
It was all very sort of yeah.
It was an adult theme, was it, Beth?
Yes. Yeah. It was very adult themed, but the actual way that the show was done, I thought was very good.
Yeah.
So what we're saying is we're encouraging to have more, I suppose, inclusive, adaptable, integrated, BSL and caption performances.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I mean, I think we've already given you lots of good information. I mean, so what we're saying is, so maybe some of the programs should be only for deaf people, or do you think you should prefer it to be open to everyone?
Well, can I say something?
Yes, Violet.
Yeah, from speaking for myself, I don't understand sign language, and but I'm hard of hearing, so I sort of fall in between categories. I'm not hearing and I'm not deaf. I find it difficult. You know, if there's something geared for just deaf people, then I wouldn't be able to partake. It's tricky, isn't it?
Well, I think that's the point we're making, is that when we say it's something for deaf people, it should be for the whole remit of deafness. So we want to make it accessible to everybody, those who don't sign, those who do sign, those who use loop systems, those who use note takers, those who need somebody to do braille, or, you know, deaf-blind alphabet on their hand. You know, there might be all sorts of different means that by people need to be involved.
Okay, and going back to the festival in the Bishop's Palace St David's, it's the Birmingham Drama Company Festival Arts. They run it.
Oh, thank you, Violet.
And they come every year. They're brilliant plays, but it is hard to follow if you can't catch all that they're saying.
Oh, thank you.
That's okay.
I've never heard of it, so I'm very interested. Thank you very much. Okay.
Yeah, they are brilliant.
The show that we went to see last year, I've just looked it up. It was called Peeling.
Yeah.
Healing.
Feeling.
Oh, feeling. Okay.
Feeling.
With a P.
Oh, peeling.
Yeah.
Controversial.
It was controversial, but the actual concept and the way that the actors used the different methods of communication was really interesting, and I think it's a shame that we couldn't do it for a different kind of show.
I'm going to ask one question myself, if I may, Johnny, because I wonder what people think about the idea of having an event that is fully accessible for all the deaf community, but is advertised without people particularly being aware of that. Because what I would love to see is the whole community coming together, including the deaf community, and experiencing something of deaf culture within that environment, but not that we, you know, separate off into all lots of different groups. That's what our club, you know, we try to be totally inclusive. We try to have everybody coming along to our group events, our trips. We always make sure we are accessible for the signers and for the non-signers, you know, for the people who wouldn't label themselves as deaf. You know, deaf is it's not necessarily your label, but we try to encourage anybody with hearing issues to be involved in our club. And that's what I want the community to sort of accept the deaf community without feeling, well, give them something, you know, that's then, you know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, how do other people feel about that?
I totally agree with that. And for myself, I'm the only deaf or hard of hearing person in my family. So if I wanted to go as a family, it would have to be something open to everyone that they would enjoy as well. So I wholeheartedly agree with you there.
Mm-hmm.
You made a really good point there, Shirley. It's something that I've been trying to campaign for a long time. Why can't we just be in a space where it open to everyone? What it is, we face barriers. As soon as we go into the door, we face a barrier. It shouldn't be like that. You know, this is what I'm trying to say with the museum, you know, and because I face barriers going to the museum, too many people, too many things going on. I don't know what I'm doing, lack of signage, you know, lack of communication. So I'm trying. You've been there, Shirley. All of you've been there. We've experienced it, you know. It's almost like, are we going in a big cycle? Or did it become a little bit like tokenism, where they're trying to say, okay, let's try and produce something to make us happy. But no, we need to break that. You know, we absolutely need to break that, you know. And the idea I had in my mind, you know, what is it that we could, they could do better? Why not get you guys involved? You know, why not be a community project? Doesn't necessarily have to be poetry or storytelling, or it could be anything. Why can't community work together, and then you create something, you know? And that's the idea. That's you know, being more inclusive in that way, you know. Maybe, I mean, I don't even know that what's your local museum anyway? I mean, why could they work with somebody from your Sign and Share Club, so they could almost like, I don't know, I'm just thinking of idea, become a tour guide themselves. You know, that's the way I see it, and so it's building that collaboration, building that relationship.
Does anybody else want to make a comment? Because I think we're coming to a point where we ought to bring the meeting to an end.
Yeah. I really appreciate, I wanted Sebastian to come in and talk there. I didn't quite talk for a few minutes, so I really appreciate your time. I understand it's been probably a long afternoon for you. So some of the comments you've given me have been absolutely fantastic to hear, and I'm hoping I can relay that back to the Art Council World and the museum, because I do want to make a difference. I'm trying to make a difference, and hopefully, you know, they could start moving things forward. I know the museum, they're going through some kind of strategic planning trying to change the way how we approach the museum. So with your feedback, it could make a difference. So if anyone got any last minute thought, or yeah, it'd be a great time to do it now, or you could let Shirley know. Shirley can email me.
I think that when a lot of the things that are happening in Cardiff or further afield, that is deaf awareness. Why can't they do it past Swansea? Because as soon as anything's happening in Swansea, we can't access it because it's too far away.
Yeah. And
that really does annoy me. And, you know, a lot of theatres and whatever, they don't seem to get the idea that we would like to access certain things. And we can't because that theatre doesn't use it. And that it's a big one with me. It's a very big one.
Okay, thank you, Beth.
Can I just ask something?
Yes, Violet.
I enjoy going to theatre plays, you know, with my family. We went to see The Mousetrap in Cardiff, and it was absolutely brilliant. But I just wondered what would be possible for hard of hearing. How could they adapt it for hard of hearing people?
You can have subtitles so that you've got the speeches up in speech on above the stage.
Oh, right, okay.
That's one thing that can make it more accessible for hard of hearing.
Yeah.
Every theatre should have a loop system so that if you have a hearing aid, you should be able to use your T function. So, you know, it's worth asking the theatre before you go.
Okay.
If they have that. But, you know, I don't understand why. I mean, theatres really should have subtitles on everything. You know, it should be there.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for that. Thank you. I will ask in future.
Yeah. Okay. Rhiannon, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just got interrupted by phone call.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be nice though to have like okay, not to have our own radios all the time, etc. But it would be nice to have like.
Rhiannon, can you put your face up a bit so we can see your lips if people are lip reading? I can't see your lips. Sorry. Would you like to start again for us?
I would love to have everyone to have their own radio set, but it's not because the equipment is too expensive.
Yeah.
But I would love to have more choice of what to see in the cinema or in the museums or anything else that I can go on my own, which I can't do because, as you know, trouble with transport and stuff like that. It's really awkward, especially for a person like me who wants to get out and stuff.
Yeah, so we've got issues with transport, we've got issues with accessing the information, what's available. I mean, you know, because myself and Sam and Sarah and Kerry in the future will be all, you know, we organise things for activities, for trips and things, and finding out what's on is very difficult. I mean, you know, I've got some links where people will send me something and then I advertise it on Facebook quickly, you know, and try and encourage people to go to it. But it's very difficult to access the information. It's very bitty. You're relying on, you know, maybe the Arts Council for Wales send you something, the theatre sends you something, but there's no one place where all the information is. So it's difficult.
I think some websites should have like an accessibility page, but quite often it's really hard to find it on the computer. So the accessibility page will tell you if it's wheelchair accessible, whether it's deaf friendly, whether there's subtitles, blah blah blah. But sometimes it's really hard to find that information unless you really know what you're looking for. And the other thing is, if you're going to a museum or something which has got an exhibit that has sound on it, if there was a transcript, either a transcript available that you could walk around with, or some other way. I mean, I went to the Doctor Who exhibition a few years ago when it was at Cardiff, and we could ask for a device which, as you went around the exhibition, it had subtitles on the screen. You could read the screen of what was being said. So that is one useful device, one useful thing to have. Yeah. That way. But obviously people need to be aware that those facilities are available. I think the Harry Potter studio as well, I think they might have some sort of device. You have to ask them at the office, can I have a device so that I can read what's going on?
Yeah, and I think that's a problem, because if you have to ask, you have to be assertive enough to ask, and a lot of people won't, you know. I think it should be offered, you know, if you know, without you are asking, you should be offered, you know, we have this, would it help anybody in your group or in your family? Because it shouldn't be the onus on you to sort of be saying, oh, I'm deaf, you know, help me. It should be, this is our service, what would be helpful to you?
Or advertise on the desk that we have this available. So people, say like in London, you go to shows and you go to exhibitions, you can have a version in English, you can have it in French, you can have it in German, you can have it in other languages. So why not have one that's available for deaf as well?
Yeah.
No, Maria, I do agree with the fact that, okay, when I went down to Doctor Who exhibition in Cardiff with my friends, and it was really hard for me, even though they were supposed to give me an option of the subtitles to the tablet, they didn't give me that option at all, and I wasn't really impressed by that. And then we went to the Harry Potter studios 2 years ago, wasn't offered then either.
I think you have to book them in advance online. So like when we went to Doctor Who exhibition, we went online and we had to book it so that when we turned up, we'd already reserved the box. So obviously they don't give them out automatically, you have to reserve them.
That's not the point though, is it? We shouldn't have to automatically just have to go and book it in advance when there might be a chance of having like 2 or 3 families that might want to use it. and then of course then they won't be able to use it.
I think that's why you have to book, Rhiannon, because they have limited equipment, and so if you book it, you're definitely going to get it. If you arrive and everybody else has taken it out because they booked it and you're the last person, there isn't any left. That's probably why you actually need to book. But my question would be to you, Rhiannon, when you booked, were you aware that you had to book the equipment?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Is do the organisations actually put it on? You know, when they say disable access and all this lot, do they actually put on there who's got what equipment they've got for people that are deaf or hard of hearing?
I don't know. I've never booked Harry Potter or whatever. I've never been to them, but I don't know whether when you book, is there something you can tick to say I have a hearing impairment or I'm deaf or whatever their question is, and then something will come up to say, do you want to book this, that, and the other? Because if there isn't, it's up to you then. You're searching around looking for the accessibility. What can I book? You know, it should be an automatic part of the process. I don't think that most places do.
I think you have to go to the accessibility page to find the information about how to book it.
Yeah.
There is only one, the Harry Potter one I knew I would have to book it in advance, but we couldn't do it because of the fact that it was already booked up. But the one on the Doctor Who, I didn't know about it until I got there.
Okay.
So people like Johnny need to maybe, and us as a group, maybe need to make sure that these groups and organisations know that they're supposed to be giving information to people that are deaf and getting them to be more aware for people that are deaf.
No.
Well, can you deal with your brother, please? Sorry, I will be back now.
Okay, Beth, thank you.
Can we swap interpreter?
Yes,
please?
we can. Okay. Yes, hang on a second. Just going to spot you.
Sorry.
Okay.
You want a good day? Oh, don't be tired. Poppy wants a drink and something to eat.
I'm just going to mute Beth because she's dealing with Ryan and okay. Okay. So anybody raise your hand if you want to raise another query. I think otherwise we have one more thing. We have to do the re-election of the trustees before we finish. So we haven't done that bit of the meeting, so we will need to do that before we finish.
And also I've got names in a hat to pull out.
Oh yes, of course we have. Yes, we've got our draw, definitely. So can we move on? Thank you very much, Johnny. I hope you've had enough information. And if you haven't and you want to come back to us, we're more than welcome to work with you.
No, I really appreciate your time. So thank you very much for everything. And I hope you'll relay that back to Art County Road. And if you've got any other thought or any other something, just let Shirley know, and I'm sure she will let me know. But thank you again, brilliant, really great to speak to you all.
That's great, thank you. Okay, so I don't know why we've got, we seem to have a spotlight on Maria. I'm just going to take that off. So if I just add a spotlight to me. So can I just say that we have 3 trustees who are up for re-election this year. And they are Beth, Hannah and Sian. We've already had 13 people have voted by postal vote. I think there may be 1 or 2 people here who haven't voted yet. And if you want to put your votes in for us, then please, can you do that on the private chat? I'm just thinking, Beth, you haven't voted as yet. Are you able to use the private chat? If you click on my name, you get an option for private chat with me. Or you click on chat first. You need to get the chat up. Okay. And Rhiannon, have you?
I don't know that her voice is on.
Yeah, I got mine up now.
Yeah. Okay. Just unmuting Beth. Okay, Beth.
I am going to try and do it now, but
Okay, just send me a message to say whether it's yes or no for Beth, Hannah and Sian for re-election. I think those other people who are members have already voted from the people that are actually on Zoom.
Hang on, Beth can't vote for herself, by the way.
No, I know. Sorry, yes. Totally true. Yes, Beth, you only vote for Hannah and Sian.
well, that's fine.
Right, I'm just looking for...
Should I vote, Shirley?
Violet, have you paid membership, Violet?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, then you can vote.
Do I vote, Shirley?
Hearing people like ourselves do not have a vote. Violet is hard of hearing, so she has a vote.
No, I question it because we're members, that's all.
Yeah, we're members, but we're non-voting members.
That's fine, just checking.
Our organisation is deaf-led, so yeah, so...
Shirley, am I only allowed to vote for one, or can I vote?
For both, for Hannah and Sian.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
So what do I click on again? Sorry, Shirley.
If you go to chat, where there's a little bubble with chat on it, can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, if you click on that, and then where it says to, change it just to myself hang on. Yeah, yes, you should have sign and share club host, it'll say.
I've got Zoom group chat.
Yes, but you want to, in there you'll see a little place to write your message, and above it will say to, so you need to direct it to sign and share club, not to everybody.
Oh, okay.
Okay, because your vote is private.
Okay.
All right. So I think Rhiannon.
Can I ask a question, Shirley? Is Mia still doing what she wants to do?
Thank you.
Nia is secretary at the moment, but she's sort of on hold because of the, having just had a baby. So she's not up for re-election because she was re-elected the previous year. There's only a third trustees each year that has to be re-elected.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
so I just make sure.
So thank you, Violet.
Okay.
Thank you, Beth. Thank you, Rhiannon. That's lovely. I think now we have all our votes in. So that's another 3, 2. Yeah, okay. So that means all of our 3 trustees are elected. So well done to the 3 of you, to Beth, Hannah and to Sian. And I'm sure we'll be getting together very soon to set up our next lot of meetings and to work together. I would like to say a big thank you to all the trustees, especially to Linda as our chair, because she's put in a lot of extra time, especially over the COVID period where we've had to do a lot of work by post, and she's come over to visit and pick up things from me because I was shielding and couldn't go out. So I do appreciate all of the work that you do. Thank you very much to Beth, because when we have our meetings, she's extremely busy doing the teas and coffees and looking after the kitchen for us. So big well done to you, Beth. Thank you very much. But to every single trustee, a big thank you. And I'd like to thank the rest of the team as well, for Sarah and Sam and for Kerry, for the tremendous support you've been to the club over the last year. It's been fantastic, and it's really quite a pleasure to work in a team now. I think it's been quite a good move for the club, and we're achieving a lot of work, and basically keep it going, everybody. Well done. And at that point, I will bring the meeting to a close.
So, Shirley, before you
Yeah.
move,
Oh, Sarah,
I'm
we have to do
determined to put
the-
it. Okay,
Sorry.
right.
I'm putting
Here
myself.
we go. All right, I'm shaking the bag.
Yeah, okay, 1 minute, we'll spotlight you so we can get you in. Okay.
Right, I'm rummaging around in here. Okay. Who have we got? Kerry.
Oh,
Oh,
Kerry.
thank you. Thank you very
Hey.
much.
There we are.
There we are.
And actually, I should say a big thank you to Kerry, because you know that he raised so much money for us by his head shave. He's still not got any hair there.
Yeah, I'm keeping
his
it
beard
off.
came off, his hair came off, and he raised about 700 and something pounds, wasn't it,
Yeah, it
Kerry?
was around 745 or 755.
Something like that. Yeah, it was an
Wow.
excellent thing. So well done to you.
As I
Amazing.
say,
I'm
I'm
pleased
going to
you
keep
got the
it all off.
chocolate.
Yeah, thank you very much. As I say, I'm going to keep the hair off. The only thing that's coming back is the mustache.
Yeah.
But as I say, I'm going to keep it all off now. It's just getting very expensive for razor blades at the moment.
Right. Okay. Right. Well, big thank you to you all. Well done, everybody. We will give a big round of applause. Thank you. And that's the end of our meeting. Thank you very much, Denise and Suzanne, for your interpreting.
Bye.
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 Bye.